and review my expenses for the month of February. And then I'll jump over to budgeting out my paycheck for the month of March, and then my savings rate. I'll go over that with the paycheck that I got paid February 29th. I can go ahead and round up my gross income for February and see how my automatic investing did in terms of helping me with my savings rate. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bigger. And just this year. Okay. So for the month of February, I went ahead and paid $2,400 for rent because it's 2 months. January, I was gone for a week and my landlord was gone, also traveling. I went to Mexico to visit my grandmother and he was doing something else. So I think he would have let it go until March, to be honest, or like late February. But I was like, dude, you got to come and get your rent. For utilities, this is covering electricity, gas, and internet. It was $119, which is pretty good. I usually budget $120. Phone was extra because I paid $50 extra for an international data plan. You can do $35, but I don't know. I don't like risking not having a Google Maps and my Volaris app, which is a flight information thing. I probably didn't need the $50. I usually probably only need like the $35 plan, but I always get that one. Groceries was $149 for this is paying out for the international data plan in January. For groceries, I spent $149 because in February I did end up leaving to Mexico again because my grandmother unfortunately passed away. Transportation was $642 for the month of February. January, I had a car incident, so I had to do some repairs on my car. That's why it's so large in January. It went down in February, as you can see, so that's good. Health and beauty was within budget, I guess. I usually budget $100. Family support was $513 for the month of February. I did help with some funeral-related expenses. And in Mexico, after the funeral, you do 9 days of rosary where people come and say the rosary. And then you have to do the food, and if drinks. I did get food poisoning. I just felt really bad of not to not accept a champurrado, or was it atole? I don't remember. But I'm vegan, and I sipped a little bit of it. I don't know if that's what it was, but I did end up getting sick the Friday before I had to come back. In terms of like food poisoning, I was throwing up. So I made it though. I made it back. Yearly memberships, $29. I think I bought the 1 second app where if you go on certain apps, it'll tell you to breathe for 1 second and then it'll ask you again if you really want to go on the app. And I bought that. Clothing was $180. I think I bought a pair of shoes. What else did I buy? Oh yeah, Converse and Rent the Runway. I tried it out for a small dinner that I was going to, and I really liked it. Roth IRA for the month of February, I put in $520. That was 1, 2, 3, 4 transfers every Monday, and having a budgeting app in conjunction with automatic investing really taught me the value of the system, because when life is crazy and you have more important things to worry about, everything's still going on in the background. And when I came back after my grandmother's funeral, it wasn't like a complete disaster. I still knew what I had money-wise. All my bills had been paid, and I got to focus on other things and family. My grandmother was a wonderful person, by the way. She suffered a lot for decades worth of pain, and I sometimes I was sometimes thinking really dark things about just life in general. Um, but again, it's just, I'm so grateful that I had all of this already established in terms of my financial expenses. I knew what I was spending. I knew I was going to be okay with the travel expenses that came up. Luckily, I was able to have someone drive me to Tijuana the same day of my grandma's passing, and I was in Mexico by the morning the next day, and I just funded my travel category by like for $500, and it was a lot of money for me because usually I just put it all into my investments or other things, but I had enough, like just enough to cover that expense. And also, it made me realize how my thought process of like emergencies, usually I haven't had a set emergency fund for a while, right? It was just recently that let's go to my budget. It was just recently that I started to, budget out a little buffer to fund employment. I had to dig into that a little bit for my car incident issue in January. I didn't really have to dig into that into my travel category because I had enough, but it just made me realize how a small buffer coupled with well-funded sinking funds did help me out. And it's basically what I was thinking, like in case of any emergency, I could always grab from my sinking funds, and it worked out. It did help me out. Roth IRA was funded out through automatic investing. My pension was great. A lot of money there. 457B, I put aside a little less, $1,169 for this month. In January, I'd actually still had like a paycheck where I contributed 26% of my gross pay. That was a complete mistake. I didn't really intend to put in 26%, but I did. And then I switched it back to 15%. The main reason why I switched it back to 15% was because I did want to start setting aside a good amount into my travel category, which was, I guess, ideal timing. But that's pretty much it. I do track my payroll deductions just to see. I just like having the data there, like how much I'm paying into federal, state taxes. It puts everything into perspective. Compared to what I make, it's fine with me paying those taxes. And the bottom here, net income, is at a negative because it's counting this as an expense. So that's fine with me. I just like to, this is just for tracking purposes. Going back to my budget, let's make it a little, okay. So I have $2,308 with 26 cents left to budget. The last paycheck, I was able to get ahead a little bit into March with $495. Out of the ready to assign, $161 was from cashback. The cashback, as you can see, it was actually, I think it was like $361. Let me check. I'll check. But for now, I set aside $161, so I'm on track to have $474 by the end of December. I am thinking of getting the Live app by Whitney Simmons, where it gives you exercises to do, and you could do those at home or at the gym. And if I do that, I would probably add it to yearly memberships, although I'm not sure if I should add it to the health and beauty category. It's all the same, really, but just depends what category I'll decide to put that in if I get it. So because of that, I'm actually going to type in $1,200, and YNAB will just do the math for me, keeping into account that I already had $495 in there. for the remaining of the rent for March. And just with the first paycheck, I just like covering all my basic categories, my live categories. I'm going to click underfunded. I do have enough to cover those. Another automatic investing that I have to worry about is my brokerage account and my Roth IRA. I'm gonna put, I guess I'll put 250, but I think household, I'm actually gonna do 50. Transportation is fine. Groceries is fine. I got the international data plan again, so that means I have to set aside another $50 here. So 160. And utilities, I actually have an overage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snooze this for the month and just use what I have there. So that leaves me another $120 to put towards my Roth IRA. Anything else I should add though? I think I'll be okay. I also did have 2 birthdays in February, but that I should be okay. Yeah. Okay, so the rest, I'm gonna have that set aside to my Roth. How much would that be? $370.29. $370.29. And I have $409 set aside for that. That's pretty cool. So that's the first check of February. I'm gonna go to my savings rate. Okay. So for the month of February, I got a $313.68 in cash back. It was actually a little more because I cashed in my Costco certificate and I spent like $100 something at Costco, and then they gave me back the difference of $161. Other cash back I just budgeted as I went. And so that would mean that I have a savings rate for the month of February of 36%. 894 went into the pension. The 308.32 is the what normally gets taken out, 138.87. Each paycheck is for buying back 1 year worth of service credit. 457. The last paycheck, I put in 450 with 43 cents, plus the employer match was 133.47, runs that up to 1,169. Roth IRA, I had again 1, 2, 3, 4 automatic investments into the Roth IRA every Monday, and the $50 towards the brokerage. Down here, I was just playing around with, after my deductions from my pension and stuff, my countable income that gets taken into account to in terms of calculating what I put into my 457B is actually a little different. So I'm trying to calculate what it would take me to get to almost $1,500 like I had in January for my 457B every month. And that would take me setting aside 0.20%, which I don't think I can, because I still want to set aside a good amount to my travel category, and I really need to replenish some of my sinking funds. So I'll just leave it at that. This is just calculating, wishful thinking, stuff like that. I think that's it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.